Okay, this is a ninth grade lesson on Van Book Cafe, The Right to Read, Exploring Intellectual Freedom in Our Library. Okay, the standards, flexible scheduling, 2.11, technology tools for research, discussion, and reflection, safe, inclusive, barrier-free environment, students and librarian model intellectual freedom and ethical information use, and our TEKS, analyze and discuss multiple perspectives within literary text, create multimodal presentations that communicate ideas effectively, and practice safe, responsible, and ethical behavior in information environments. Okay, so let's discuss. Who decides what you can read? Should anyone have the right to decide what you read? Should anyone have the right to decide what you read? What do y'all think?
No.
Yes.
Okay, I heard yes and I heard no. If you said no, why should people not have the right to decide what you read? If you said no,
It should be your choice.
it should be your choice, okay? Why should people have the right to decide what you read? Logan, you said yes.
I didn't understand the question.
Okay. Anybody, does anybody believe that you should have the right, someone should have the right to tell you what to read? Anyone in here believe that? Okay. Who should make the choices about what students read? Who should make those choices?
Adult.
Adults?
The students.
Okay, so wouldn't that be us telling you what to read? Or is that different?
If you're underage, like a child.
Okay, so because y'all are under, or not adults, you're a child, considered children, even though you're young adults, there should be some kind of rules against, or about what you should read in schools or everywhere? Only in schools? Okay, so who should have, who should make those choices about what you read in school? I see you pointing to yourself, so should y'all have the choice to decide what you read while you're in school? Yes, okay, who else? Anybody else should have, make choices about what you read? I'll let you know, we don't, as teachers, we don't have to say in what you read. In case you didn't know that, I just work here. Okay? So, who should have those, who should make those choices? Should community members be able to make those choices about what you read? People who live in your city? Okay, what about your parents? Should they have a say? Should teachers have a say in what you read? Maybe.
Only if it like corresponds to the lesson.
Okay, if it corresponds to what they want to teach, that makes sense, yes. Should school personnel, like district employees, have the right to say what you read? Okay, what about curriculum writers? Should they have a right to say what you read? The people who actually write like their English curriculum, what we teach right now, should they have a say in what you read? Okay, probably because they're getting you prepared for your EOC test, right? So they want you to be able to read things that are going to help you with that. Okay, so understanding book challenges. So a lot of classic books, whether you believe it or not, have been challenged in recent years. A Wrinkle in Time, Of Mice and Men, Color Purple, all of these books have at one point or another been banned, or been challenged, I should say. A challenge is an attempt to remove or restrict materials. A lot of this is happening in our libraries today. Challenges often come from parents and community members, or advocacy groups, or even people who have never even read the book. Okay, they just heard what it's about, or they've seen the cover, or they've read, the blurb on the back that tells you what the book about, and they decided these children should not be reading these books, okay, without having actually read the full book themselves. A challenge is not the same as banning, but it is the first step. So once a book is challenged, it usually goes through a process, and in libraries, school libraries, there is a whole process to get a book removed from the shelf. Right now, most of the books being removed from the shelf are books that are considered adult books. So they are written for ages 18 or over. So those books are now being removed from the shelves because there's just a lot of controversy about having adult books in school libraries. So books are often challenged because of things like language or profanity, okay? Violence or graphic content. Sexual content is a big one, or discussions of consent. So that could include like sexual assault and things like that. Topics related to race, identity, and gender are often challenged. Fear that the book will influence readers. So there are some that believe if a child reads a book about, say, a gay couple, it will make them gay. Okay? And misunderstanding the book's purpose or the audience. Okay? So those are reasons why books are often challenged. Questions so far? Okay. So, these are the American Library Association's most challenged books of 2024. And I'm just going to read the titles to you, and then I want you to think about why these books may have been challenged. Okay, the first one, All Boys Aren't Blue. The second, Gender Queer, a memoir, The Bluest Eye. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Tricks. Looking for Alaska. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Crank. Sold. And Flamer. These are the titles of the books. Based on the titles alone, why do you think some of these books may have been challenged?
Because they don't sound right.
What do you mean by don't sound right?
They just sound like, when you read it, they just sound weird. Like, I don't know.
Okay, so you think that some of the titles sound weird, okay? Anybody else want to help her out in explaining what might sound weird about them? Okay? Think about connotation and denotation. Do y'all remember what those mean? What is denotation? Who remembers? Anybody? So denotation is the dictionary meaning of a word. So then what is connotation? Yeah, it's the implied meaning, using context in order to imply a meaning. Okay? So if you were, for example, you see the title Crank, what would come to mind about that?
Handle.
Like actually cranking a handle? Okay, somebody said something else back there that I didn't hear. Huh? Machines? Okay, what else could crank mean? A what? Okay, or what about All Boys Aren't Blue?
Yeah.
Okay, what makes you think?
Maybe like because all boys don't have that like blue like.
Okay, so the word blue traditionally is meant for, it's a gender stereotype. It's meant for boys, right? Everybody says boys like blue and girls like pink, okay? So this one says all boys aren't blue. So we can kind of infer that it might be about
Boys that aren't boys.
boys that aren't boys, boys that might be feminine, gay men, gay boys, okay? So this is how some people make their assumption that the book should not be read, okay? This title is called Sold. Could be about sex trafficking, right?
Sold?
Mm-hmm. Slavery. Okay, things like that. So these are why these books have been challenged. So this book is about the LGBTQIA community. So it's genderqueer. The Bluest Eye, I don't know. The Bluest Eye depicts sexual assaults, incest, a couple other things. It's a great book, but it is very traumatic. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, all of the above. Drug use, violence, sexual assault, sexual abuse, all the things. Tricks claims to be sexually explicit. So is Looking for Alaska. Okay. Profanity and sexually explicit for Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. Depiction of drug use for Crank. And then depiction of sexual assault and LGBTQIA content. Okay? So those are some reasons why. Questions about this? There's another chair over there by my desk if somebody wants to grab it.
What chair?
Look by my desk.
Oh.
Okay. So now, we talked about how books have been challenged. Let's now talk about the power of access. Okay? So as librarians, or me, a future librarian, okay, we believe that every reader deserves choice and should have access to a wide range of books. Okay, reading diverse voices and difficult topics helps build empathy. What's empathy?
Courage?
Okay, so being able to feel what the person has gone through, that's empathy. Sympathy is feeling sorry for someone, okay? Like when somebody loses someone in their life, we are sympathetic toward them,
But you
but,
don't like, feel what they're going
huh?
through. But you don't like feel what they're going through.
Right, you don't know what they're going through unless you've gone through the same thing, so empathy, right, good, okay? And help students to grow. Libraries defend access. We don't endorse any type of books. We just believe there should be access provided to all types of books. Okay? The freedom to read is essential to our democracy. That's a quote from ALA. So, the impact of censorship. So, on the flip side of that coin, censorship limits students' access to diverse voices. You're only being able to hear one type of thing. Okay? It erases the experiences of people with marginalized voices. What does it mean to be marginalized?
Different.
Say again?
Different.
Different. Yes, that's part of it. When somebody is marginalized, they're kind of discriminated against, there's prejudice, they're less represented in political areas and things like that. So people who are more minorities, yes. Not all minorities, because like women could be considered a marginalized group because we don't have as many rights as males, but yes. Prevent students from developing critical thinking skills. If you're only listening to the same type of voice over and over again, does that expand your thinking at all?
No.
No. Okay? That way, please, gentlemen. Okay? You can grab a chair from up here, but sit back there. Okay? It creates fear and discussing real world issues. Okay? So if you are always protected from hearing about things that are difficult, it's going to kind of make you afraid of discussing those things in the future. So even though, we don't endorse, we don't want you necessarily reading about trafficking, slavery, sexual assault, is it good for you to know about those things as you are growing up so that when you become an adult, you're not like shell shocked when you hear these things? We believe yes. Okay? And it takes away your right to choose what you read. Okay? A lot of you, how many of you actually like to read? Okay? A few hands. Okay? A lot of you don't read long novels or anything like that because you're not interested. But you still have the right to choose what you want to read in the library. We don't want to take that choice away from you. Okay? Questions?
No.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to explore some challenge books. 20? Which one's the lesson? 15? 20? Banned books. Some of them are triggering, I should say. So they do talk about sexual assault. They do talk about incest. They do talk about
What's incest?
incest is when you marry someone in your family.
Oh.
That's incest. Okay? So hold on, come back, calm down. So I'm gonna give you also a few of these excerpts. There are 6 total, so you can spread them around. But don't start yet. Don't start reading yet because I want to explain to you what you're going to be doing. Okay?
Can I Oh, this is all mine?
Oh my God, we got cat.
Okay. So, you're going to take these excerpts and spread them around your group, okay? Ideally, we would have done this in the library where there was more room and you could actually move around, but the library is being used today. So, welcome to the Book Cafe. You are going to visit 3 to 4 cafe stations. So actually you're going to have 6 excerpts that you are going to pass among the group, and I'll give you some time to do that. You're going to read the excerpt provided. Discuss and complete your Book Cafe menu worksheet. Okay? Please be respectful and curious. Every story matters. So if you read something you don't agree with, that's okay. If you read something that's a little bit triggering for you, feel free not to continue reading it. Okay, I will say that the excerpt from The Bluest Eye, I did edit a lot of the sensitive material out of that excerpt, but there's still some that's a little sensitive, so that one definitely has a trigger warning on it, okay? And also have fun, okay? Read something different that you may not have read before, all right? No, we're not reading out loud, hon. Okay. So, your rating system. In the last column, it asks you to rate the book or the excerpt 1 through 5. So here's your rating system. 1 is going to be, I don't think it's very important. 2, somewhat important. 3, important. 4, very important. And 5, essential. Essential meaning, I want this book to stay. It needs to not be banned or challenged. Okay? Common reasons again, because they're going to ask you why you think it might have been challenged. Here are the common reasons. I've listed them up here for you so that you can refer to this list. Okay? So I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to read through the excerpts. So everyone should have at least one to be able to fill out. Okay? So if you can get to more than one, great. I would prefer everyone do at least 2, but definitely 1. Some of the excerpts are longer than others. Okay? So 10 minutes. Go. They're up. You're not a station. Just you can skip that row. Again, we're not set up right, so you can skip that row. Anybody else say anything?
I should like you know that.
Is there a different one?
Yeah, read out like 1, 2, or you can pick a different one. I gave you a whole second one. Y'all have 6 between the 2 of you, so just.
Who's the author?
Speak. Her name is Allison Brown. Some of the information is not provided on the excerpt. I apologize. You don't have to fill that in. Okay? So like the author, because I forgot to put that on there, I apologize. So basically you're going to fill in why you think it was challenged, what ideas or perspectives does the book offer, why do you think some people object to it, how does it build empathy, and should you have the right to choose it? So those middle questions. Hey, I need y'all reading. Come on.
You know what's the name of it?
Okay, write that on paper.
Which one?
If you think it's boring, write it. Some of the excerpts that I picked are not the controversial parts of the novel. So, that's mouse, M-A-U-S, mouse. We're gonna go over the books and I'll tell you about them after we do this part, okay? But I'm basically interested in hearing why you think the book may have been challenged. That's what I really want to know. But I also want to know, do you believe the book should be banned or should it be left on the shelves for students to have the choice to read it? Okay, don't forget your rating system and your common reasons why it could have been challenged. Should I read those out loud? Can y'all see the challenges, the reasons for the challenge? Do you need me to read them?
Yeah.
Okay, so common reasons for book challenges. Concerns about language or profanity, violence or graphic content, sexual content or discussions of consent. That would be like the sexual assault, okay? Topics related to race, identity, or gender. Fear that the book will influence readers, and misunderstanding the book's purpose or audience. Okay, so language or profanity, violence, sexual content, race, identity, gender, influence on readers, and misunderstanding the purpose or audience of the book. Okay, I'm gonna give you about 3 more minutes.
Question. Was it based on the true story? Gender queer.
So once you've read your excerpt and filled in your chart, tell your table mates what your excerpt was about. See if you notice any connections between the type of books. Okay, so I'm gonna extend that time a little bit just so y'all can have time to do that. So some of the excerpts were definitely more exciting than others. So definitely share what your excerpt was about. If you understood it, if you didn't understand it, if you thought it was weird, if you think you misunderstood it. Who do you think the book was intended for? Okay, now these are questions that I'm going to be asking you here in a second. So think about those things. How much time do we need, or do we need more time?
No.
Has everybody had a chance to read at least one excerpt? Yes? Okay, have you told your table mates what your excerpt was about?
I was just about to yeah. I was wondering.
So was afraid of being answered.
I hear somebody back there misunderstood what they read.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the one that says right to choose, it just means, do you think people should have the right to choose to read that novel?
No.
Okay. Be prepared to defend your answer.
It's called free will.
Okay, I'm hearing some good discussion. Okay, so come back to me, please, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much for participating. I clicked something I wasn't supposed to. Okay, go back to this. All right, technical difficulties. Here we go. So, let's talk about the books, the excerpts that I provided with you, okay? Raise your hand if you read the one from The Bluest Eye. Okay? Yeah, how do you feel about that one? Yes. It was a hard read, right? And that's not even the worst. I took out the worst part of that scene because I read it this morning and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna traumatize them that much this early in the morning. So I took out, hey, come back to me. Gentlemen, we're talking about The Bluest Eye. Okay, it is a hard read. The novel itself, this was Toni Morrison's first novel, which I didn't know until I was researching for this lesson. I read this novel in college and for the first time, and yeah, it's very difficult scene to read, especially that scene that I provided you with. It does bring up, though, some topics that are very real. So Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye is frequently banned and challenged, often due to its sexually explicit material, graphic descriptions, and disturbing themes like racism, child abuse, and incest. So, for those of you who did not get a chance to read that excerpt, unfortunately, the young lady in this novel, her name is Cola, she was sexually assaulted by her father, okay, in that novel. So, again, a hard topic, okay? Listen, hey, y'all are talking way too much over there. Pay attention, please. Okay, it's been on the American Library Association's list of most challenged books since its publication in 1970, is when this book was published. And its bans have become more frequent in recent years. So why do you think, based on that one excerpt that you read, why do you think this book could be challenged all the time. Yes, Nova. Yes. Yes. Covers topics like pedophilia, incest, taking some stuff off my phone because I'm out of storage. So that doesn't mean I have children. Okay. We were talking about the blue side, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Nova was talking. Were you still talking before I stopped? Okay. We're talking about incest. Okay. Ready? Are you recording? Okay. So, what do we think this book should be banned or challenged, or should it be able to stay on the shelves? Should people have the right to choose?
I think I don't think it should be banned.
Mhm.
Because like you said earlier, by like
Listen,
sheltering-
please.
by like sheltering people of like this knowledge, it'll like become a sensitive topic when they're older and they might like not be able to hear topics like this
Mhm.
if they're not exposed to it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think it should be banned.
Okay, I agree, but I also think that it should definitely come with a trigger warning. Because it has a lot of sensitive, as someone who's read the whole book, it has a lot of sensitive topics. And if someone has gone through that before, you don't want them to go into the book blind, and then be triggered themselves. So it definitely should have a trigger warning. I know I said the word trigger like 5 times just then. Okay, let's talk about genderqueer. Who read that excerpt? Okay, one person? One person. Genderqueer?
Oh, I don't know what that was.
Oh, it was the one that had yes, that one, the one that has like the sports bra. Okay, so this was Maya Kobabe's graphic memoir, and has been frequently banned in public schools and libraries across the United States, making it one of the most challenged books in recent years. The book has been removed from shelves by dozens of school districts due to its LGBTQ plus content and illustrations, which some challengers have described as sexually explicit. So, I've not read this full book, but I did flip through it, and there are some pretty graphic depictions of things. Not sexually, I didn't think they were sexual, but yeah, there were some things that I saw that I was like, oh, okay. But what do you think? Those of you who read this excerpt, what do you think? What did you think?
It was terrible.
It was terrible. Why was it terrible?
LGBTQ.
Because it's about LGBTQ.
A trans guy with tiny boobs.
Okay, and you disagree with that because?
Because it should not be in libraries because that's not appropriate.
Okay, why is it not appropriate?
Because it's talking about body parts.
Hey, please stop talking so I can hear. Because it's talking about
Body parts that should not be exposed.
body parts that should not be exposed. Is that
Talking
the,
about a stupid bra.
okay, about a bra that half of the population wears?
Not
Really?
really.
Okay, so anyways, but you said because it's LGBTQIA. But then you said because it's talking about body parts. So if it was a novel that was about a straight person and they were talking about that, would that be okay?
What?
If it was talking about a straight person,
No.
it still would not be okay? So it's more about the,
Talk about gender or anything.
okay, so gender all together. Okay, got it. Good. Anybody else? What did y'all think of that? I know, I'm watching the time. Yeah, hold on. Hey. Guys, be respectful. I'm gonna let you out. Don't worry. I'm not gonna hold you. But I do want to hear more perspectives, so please be respectful. Cadence.
I just think it's about the one that I'm talking about not understanding.
Mhm.
So she just feels like she belongs somewhere.
Okay, so it's just about a girl who's uncomfortable in her own skin and wanting to belong. Okay, I like that perspective. You can pause it. All right, so I'm just gonna review again some common reasons for book challenges are language and profanity, violence or graphic content, sexual content or discussions of consent. So that would be like sexual assault. Topics related to race, identity, or gender. Fear that the book will influence readers. And then misunderstanding about the purpose or the audience for the book. So, you've now had a chance to read the excerpts. So, we're going to talk about them and why they could have possibly been challenged. So, how many of you read the excerpt from The Bluest Eye? Okay, what did you think?
That's pretty weird, man.
Okay, pretty weird.
Messed up.
It was messed up, yeah. Very very traumatic,
Very something.
detailed, yes, very something, okay? So, for those of you who didn't get a chance to read that excerpt, unfortunately, our young protagonist, her name in the novel is Bacola, she is sexually assaulted by her father in the novel, and it's very graphic. And the thing is, I read this excerpt this morning before giving it to you, and I actually took out the most graphic part. So just imagine what you read, it was worse. So, because I didn't want to traumatize y'all this early in the morning, okay? So you're probably already a little traumatized, but hopefully you understand. Why would it be important for a book like this to maybe be on the shelf? Yes.
So that kids can know, like if they're being raped, that they know that it's bad and shouldn't be happening.
Right. Okay. And it is a way for, we kind of, as people, we find solace in the arts. Okay. Some people like to do music. Some people like to draw. I'm a reader. And so I connect with things that are written in books. So that might happen to other people as well. If they can see themselves in a character and be able to identify with that character, unfortunately, even in this way, it could be detrimental, but it could also maybe be helpful to them. So, on the chart, yes, go that way, please. On the chart, it asks you, there's a question that asks, should the person have a right to choose to read the book? Those of you who read the excerpt, what do you think? Should it be banned? Should it be left for a person to be able to choose to read it, or should it not be allowed? What do y'all think?
Stay banned, man.
It should stay banned?
I just read it. It was not banned.
Yeah. So you think it should be banned?
Heck to the yes.
Okay. Well, anybody else disagree? Yes. Giselle, why and Hamina, okay? Hold on. I want to hear what they have to say. Why do you think it should not be banned?
Because like it's informational, like it tells you stuff, and if you don't want to read it, you don't have to. But some people might want to read it.
Yes. Okay, so even if it's not a book that's not for one person, someone else might want to read it, right? And then you said it shouldn't as well. Can you tell me why?
Because it's explaining something that can happen in real life.
Yes, it's unfortunately a real life topic, okay? And those things need to be discussed. Personally, that's how I feel. Should be discussed, should be known, so that people are able to get out of that situation if they are able to, okay? So, yes, Bluest Eye, very good book. Overall, very good book. I read the whole thing, but I read it in college. And yes, it's got a lot going on. It's not just about that. This young lady in the book is called The Bluest Eye. She's a young black girl. I think she's about 11, and her dream is to have blue eyes. And she goes through a lot of things with her family, and so it's very good if you would like to read it, but trigger warning, there's a lot that happens in it, okay? Genderqueer is the excerpt that had like the sports bra on it. Did anybody read that one? Okay. Leo, what did you think? It was kind of
Weird.
It was a little weird, yeah. I have not read this book fully. I did flip through some of it. I didn't flip through the whole thing. And what I saw were the pictures. I didn't think, the ones that I saw weren't so like sexually explicit that they shocked me or anything. But there were some that, there was a picture in there and I was like, oh, that, okay. But it was about menstrual cycle, okay? I'll just put it like that. And it was pretty graphic. So it's been frequently banned in public schools and libraries across the United States, making it one of the most challenged books in recent years. The book has been removed from shelves of dozens of school districts due to its LGBTQ plus content. and illustrations, which some challengers have described as sexually explicit. So I think it's mostly been challenged because of the drawings, not necessarily of the topic. So there's that. And then Mouse. Who read Mouse? The comic strip with the little mice in it. Anybody read that one? There's pigs in there. There's mice. Anybody read that one? Okay, so Mouse is about the Holocaust. Okay, it's a graphic novel that has been banned from school curriculum, most notably in McMinn County, Tennessee, in January of 2022. So this was pretty recent. The vote was based on concerns over inappropriate language, nudity, and violence, which the board deemed not age appropriate for its 8th grade curriculum. The book depicts the Holocaust with Jewish people as mice and Nazis as cats. Okay. All right, and then The Hate You Give, fantastic book. Did anybody read that excerpt? The Hate You Give? Oh, y'all are missing out. Y'all didn't get a chance to read that one? Okay. The Hate You Give, that excerpt also is a little difficult to read. It's about an encounter with police officers and a young black man being shot by a white police officer. Okay, so The Hate You Give has been banned and challenged in various school districts and libraries, often cited for reasons including profanity, violence, and themes related to police brutality and racism. So people think it's like anti-police, and they don't like that, so they challenge the book. Okay, and then Speak. Great book again, by Lori Halls Anderson. Did anybody read this excerpt? So the excerpt I provided from Speak is just like the very beginning of the book, so there's not really anything controversial in it. However, it's been challenged and banned many times in different schools and public libraries. Common reasons include the book's depiction of rape and profanity, in its political viewpoint, and claims that it's biased against males or is sexually explicit. It also depicts parents in a bad light because the parents don't react very well to the daughter's depression and what she goes through post-rape. Now, they don't know that she has been raped, but because of what she's going through and how she reacts to that, they just think it's teenage angst, and they react very badly to her and tell her they don't have time for it. So parents are also painted in a very bad light in this novel as well. And then The Absolute True Diary of a Part-Time Indian. Did anybody read that one? So we had like 2 people read something? Okay. So The Absolute True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie has been frequently challenged and banned in some U.S. schools and libraries for reasons including profanity, sexual content, violence, and anti-family themes. It's often praised by educators for its portrayal of bullying, poverty, and racism. So educators like it, parents and community members do not. Okay? So, let's talk about it. What patterns did you notice across the books? Yes. Yes, a lot of them had something to do with sexuality, right? Or sexual themes. Okay, what else did we notice about across the books? Yes.
Most of the books were very graphic.
A lot of them were graphic. Yes, Jacob.
They're all kind of like crazy, right?
They're all a little crazy. Can you expound on crazy? What do you mean?
What does expound mean?
Elaborate.
Like, they're all wild, man. It's like, some of them are about rape, some of them are about racism.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy.
So they're about a lot of controversial topics.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so it's a little crazy, true. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to this screen and just reiterate the role of access, okay, and the power of access. So, as school librarians, as public librarians, it is our belief, me as a future librarian, that every reader deserves choice and should have access to a wide range of ideas. Reading diverse voices and difficult topics builds empathy and helps students grow. libraries do not endorse any type of book. That's not our job. It's not my job to push a type of book on you. Okay? I'm like, oh, read this book. Okay? I can recommend books, sure, especially if you were asked for a recommendation, but I'm not endorsing a type of book. Can you pause? Okay, so libraries don't endorse. We just believe that access should be provided. Okay, you should have the choice to be able to read the book or not read the book. Okay, and censorship does the opposite. It takes away those different types of voices, prevents you from learning about different perspectives, different topics, and it creates fear in discussing some of those real world topics like what we just read in the excerpt from the Bluest Eye. Okay, so how can libraries protect access for all readers? I kind of just talked about that, but how can libraries help protect access for all readers? Access just meaning having the books available. How can we help? How can libraries help do that? Any ideas? Any ideas of how libraries can help with access? Yes.
I was like either reading or I just saw a video about it, but there was this library in Hawaii that they like had a week where they did banned books and they did a whole little like bookshelf or whatever about it, and then they posted on like the media and stuff talking about it, and they've been doing this for years, and it helped a lot of kids and even parents to like read them and understand like why they're banned and why they shouldn't be banned, all of that.
Good. That's a great perspective. Okay, maybe libraries being able to promote, because there is a such thing as Banned Books Week, so promoting banned books and letting readers know why the books have been challenged or banned, and including reasons why maybe it should be considered as something parents and students should check out. Okay? Any other thoughts on how to provide access? That was a great point. Okay, and what does freedom to read, what does freedom to read mean to you? What does freedom to read mean to you? Reading here? Yeah. Okay, being able to choose the type of book you want to read. I think that is probably at the base of it all. Like you being able to choose, like, I want to read this fantasy book, or I want to read this thriller, I want to read this horror book. Being able to choose what you want to read. Yes, Jacob.
Freedom to read, like, you can read whatever you want, depends on what it is.
Yeah. Okay, being able to read whatever you want,
Depends on what it is.
depending on what it is. Okay? So some people might like reading religious books and some people might not. Some people might like the genre, horror genre. I personally don't. But that doesn't mean that other people shouldn't be able to enjoy that genre if they like it, right? Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I should stop other people from enjoying it. Okay? So, final reflection. And I think I'm gonna know the answer to this, but which book changed how you think about someone else's experience? Which book changed how you think about someone else's experience? Did a book change how you think about someone else's experience? Yes.
The genderqueer book, I think is what it's called. Because I mean, like, I didn't realize that some like trans men like thought that about like, oh, I want to get my like boobs chopped off, so I want to have breast cancer. Like, it was kind of weird whenever I first read it, but then I was like thinking about it and I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense though.
Yeah. You
But it
don't
was
realize like how ingrained that feeling is for them, of someone that's going through transgender or becoming transgender, and how deep rooted that those feelings and emotions can be for them. I would agree. Okay, anyone else pick a different book or the same one? How did it change how you think about someone else's experience? Any other thoughts? Okay, so why should these books or these types of books stay available? Why should they stay available? Yes.
I personally think they should stay available so that it can like spread awareness about those specific types of topics. Because they're real things and they shouldn't be like hidden.
Right. Okay, a lot of the things that are in these books are real world topics that people go through every single day. And I agree, Isley, it shouldn't be hidden because these are things that, you know, we can learn about through books to maybe help and understand other people's experiences. Any other thoughts on why these types of books should stay available? Yes, Eric.
Just to give information about people that need the information about it.
Yeah, okay, if you need information about one of these topics, they're available for you to get that information. Excellent point.
The authors need money.
The authors need money, well, yeah, I guess that could be a reason, but we're talking more content than like physically the book being on the shelf, but yes. Any other thoughts? Okay, questions, any questions about banned books or challenge books that you have? Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.